After winning the Super Bowl to end the regular episodes of this series, things then took a drastic shift as we moved on to the movie portion, where we started to sim a good bit of this series. And that season did not go very well, as this play amplifies with a wide open receiver, of which it ends with an interception, as we would go on to lose in week 18 and inevitably finish bottom of our own division with the worst record we've had yet. 4-13. The Eagles and Cowboys both make the playoffs. The Giants still well ahead of us. And the Buffalo Bills would go on to win their first Super Bowl, beating the Eagles 35-21. And that is where this story begins, as we look to bounce back. And it all begins in the offseason, where we had two retirees, one in Bobby Wags and Charles Leno, two veterans we brought in to help try to solidify this team, and obviously that didn't work. So on top of that, we also let a lot of guys go, even guys who were long-term, but also some people just did not want to return who were staples. A couple guys were on the edge of if they wanted to come back or not, but we just decided let's make a clean cut here and focus more so on the future, though we will see a few of these guys return. And in our first free agent moves, we did bring in a lot of veterans, once again, to just solidify some spots. Did bring in some young talent as well, just to try to help solidify some depth, ''maybe a little bit of some growth in the future. But speaking of the future, in the draft, we go and select Nigel McNair, a linebacker, 6'4", 238, 22 years old, out of Penn State. He's a pretty athletic dude, though does kind of miss that quick agility. But he has good block shedding, cover skills, not too bad. He should be a solid run stopper. And he's a normal dev with 87 speed, 76 strength, 83 acceleration, and 82 agility. In the second round, we knew we needed some help in the DB group because that was one of our worst spots last season. So we go after Junior Gaines, a 6'4", 200-pound, 22-year-old cornerback out of Texas A&M with blazing speed, with good press, good man to start off with. We weren't sure about zone, but he definitely looked like he could be a big talent, and indeed he is, with a hidden dev, 95 speed, 87 jumping, 91 change of direction, 86 agility, and 95 acceleration. Just a little bit further down in the second round, we ended up double dipping at that DB spot, bringing in Brandon St. Louis, a free safety, 5'9", 223, 21 years old, out of Oklahoma. Once again, an all-around athlete, this time with actually some strength to his game. And again, knew everything we needed to know about him. Around 2 to 3, actually around 1. And indeed, he is a hidden dev with 89 speed, coming in with 72 strength, not too bad, 85 jumping, 87 change of direction, 85 agility, and 91 acceleration. In the third round, we shifted focus over to the offense, a spot we haven't gone yet, with a starting offensive lineman, Jalen Worthy, 6'5", 325, 21 years old. Again, pretty good athlete, decent strength, and we need help at center right now. And we figured he could probably slot in there pretty well, considering he did have some weaknesses. Having help on either side of him would be perfect. And we would make it a third hidden dev player, coming in with 84 strength and 82 acceleration. And this class ended up being really solid for us, at least 4 starters. We did have an outside linebacker in Purnell, who will probably be just a depth player. But Nigel McNair ended up being a 76, and he has a lot of really good run stop ratings. Definitely needs to work on the coverage, as that is down at a 62. Though, the intangibles, all pretty good. Injury, a slight concern with him. As for Junior Gaines, 6'4", 200 pounds, that's a solid corner right there. That press, fantastic, though the cover rating's a little bit lower than expected, with man at 74 and a 67 zone. But I expect big plays to come from him, especially with that 72 catching. As for the free safety, a 75 overall. Again, all these guys are going to be immediate starters for us. With 89 speed, 76 zone is great to start off with. He has some hit power and tackle ability as well, so he could play either safety spot. Plus 72 catching. I expect some turnovers coming his way. And the offensive lineman was drafted as a right guard, but we will be playing him at center. And it's a pretty well-rounded skill set here, with both run and pass block being 76. Does struggle with the all-around power and a little bit of some finesse in the pass game, but he has help on either side of him. And the preseason went extremely well. We won all 3 games, despite them not all being by drastic margins. Besides the Steelers, a 10-point victory was our best. And in the preseason, Huntley did struggle, but Cody just over 450, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception is not too bad. Plus completing 67% of his passes is quite good. At running back, Max Borghi averaged 3.3 yards a carry, did get a touchdown. James Cook, a new guy we brought in, 3.4 and a touchdown. And the receivers looked about as we would expect, with Osborne a little over 200, 3 touchdowns, 1 touchdown for Ross on 173. Ruckert had 2 on 138. Miller, solid guy coming in. Down at the bottom, Alton Campbell, solid as well. But the concern here is the fact that we have to scroll all the way down here to find our second-year receiver in David Watkins, who only had 1 catch for 5 yards. As for the offensive line, though, only 2 sacks given up the entire preseason. I can't hate on that. Defensively, Junior Gaines did lead us in tackles with 14. Also had Christian Harris right behind him at 13. Tackles for a loss was quite spread out, but some defensive linemen coming in for us in Grady Jarrett and Kinlaw. Sacks, even. Grady, Kinlaw lead the group once again. Also have some for Demetrius Adams and Randy Gregory. Few down the line, we did move Demetrius Adams to a backup safety spot this year, which he did get a pick, as well as Shaquille Griffin. And Daniel Carlson, 100% from both sides, something we haven't seen very often, though we do begin the year with an injury to a starting linebacker in Eric Kendricks. And after such a shaky year last year, media really wants to know, how are you bouncing back? Where are you going to be attacking these teams? And we wanted to build through the air, and that's exactly what we told them. We're going to be a passing team with James Cody, that generational talent, and some pretty good receiving talent around him. We should be good to go. And as we kick off the season, a lot of anticipation, a lot of hype around bouncing back from such a poor year last year. Was the worst of this series. And it's a division rivalry to start off with against the Giants, and we're going to have to stop Saquon Barkley, who busts off a big play, and we'll continue to see some of these kind of as they move along, just some big plays right down the middle, some big plays on the outside, just making men miss. I mean, Saquon is Saquon, and he should be paid because he is him. As for our defense, they did struggle out the get-go, giving up a lot of first downs, just a lot of chunk plays here and there. Though as we did move down the field, we did finally bow up a little bit and get the stop. Nice tackle on the outside there to force the field goal attempt, which the Giants would make, making it a 3-0 score line early on. As for our offense, again, this was a side that has struggled so much this year in these movies. And we start off with a heck of a scramble here from our generational quarterback in James Cody, all the way up to the 45. Yet we would struggle getting sacked back-to-back plays and only managing to pick up about 10 there on 3rd down. So we will have to punt, and from there the Giants would just end up going on a tear. Some turnovers being very costly for us. We do at least make it a 2-score game before half. But we're going to need to see a lot more from this team, and we're going to need to see Watkins improve. We do find him on 1st down there. Go to Ruckert here on this 1st down, and he breaks off a nice catch and run, setting us up down at the 25. We just need to actually capitalize on these drives as we go deep. Alton Campbell, a beautifully thrown ball. But Campbell cannot bring it in. Tried the one-hand catch, should have used 2. Pass rush comes in, though we do get it to Watkins. 1st down, down to the 11. And to cap off the drive on a 3rd and 14, Osborne makes the grab in tight coverage, though we still need another touchdown on our defense to get a stop if we want to level this game up. And that's exactly what our defense does for us. Getting a quick 3-and-out, 3rd and 3 forces the throwaway. and we will get the ball back with about 2 minutes left here in the third quarter. Still plenty of time to make this a game and to find a win in week 1. We find new receiver in Sky Moore, who does pick up a nice gain for us. 2nd and 2, we go right across the middle. Alton Campbell not dropping this one. Setting us up down at the 28, we go with a halfback screen, but the sack comes in. Cody drops it, and the excellent run back here from Borghi will keep the Giants off the board. However, they are set up down at the 1. They will obviously end up capitalizing off of that, but in the fourth quarter, as we jump forward, we still have a chance to make this game a thing, and we hand it off to Borghi right down the middle, finds the gap, beautiful blocking up front, into the end zone. We draw this thing closer once again. But now once again, defense, can they get the stop that we need? Loss of 2 on 2nd down, 3rd and 8, they get 8, but are inches shy. We force the punt, and we have an opportunity to level this thing up, but we're starting way back, and on 3rd and 16, we find Osborne for a huge first down. And just 2 plays later, we have a little bit of luck on our side as Watkins makes the grab. The defenders clash into each other, and he will sprint away with that top end speed, leveling this game up, something that we had not seen much of at all last season. But will the defense be able to get the stop, allow us to retake a lead? No. No, they will not. Saquon Barkley, 75 yards, play 1, takes them to the house. So once again, we trail with about 2 minutes left, and we have all 3 timeouts, so we have time, and a heck of a grab there, despite the 2-minute warning kind of blocking the grab. But on 4th and 6, we need another big play. And we will end up finding that play to Alton Campbell right across the middle on that quick stop route. There was just no one left there. And just a couple plays later, we're going to find Borghi on the quick angle route, who will fight through one defender, getting the first down. Under a minute now. As we loft it to the back corner, Sky Moore does not get both feet in bounds, but we are not deterred. 3rd and 5, Alton Campbell right down the middle. We've tied this game up with 18 seconds left, and from there, we'll send it into OT. The Giants will go on to win that coin toss, and they are obviously meaning our defense needs to make the stop once again. And they'll start back at the 25 with a read option. Herbert goes nowhere, stuffed on the outside. Great tackle from the safety in Johnson. Back to Barkley. Shaka Toney meets him again in the backfield. 3rd and 14. This is exactly the play we needed from our defense. We just have to get the last stop here. They will get it out to Saquon, and a quick tackle from Harris will force the 3 and out. Now we just have to do our part, and it starts with a 4th and 2, something we struggled to convert last season. We move out Ruckert, which then leaves a wide open pass to Alton Campbell for that first down to about midfield. And 2nd and 10, as we look to this left-hand side, a one-on-one. Sky Moore gets the quick turn, gets the grab, first down to the 35. Then we go back to the play action that has worked really well so far. As we go deep, greedy is Cody and intercepted by Xavier McKinney. With about a minute and a half left, the Giants have a chance to win this game, and Saquon Barkley puts them on his back with a beautiful first down run, and then the penalty comes in. A late hit on Herbert called on Shaka Toney puts them in field goal range, and from there, they will send out the field goal unit and hit the field goal, the game-winning field goal. After all of that, Week 1 still goes down as a loss. And once again, the media asking, is it Cody or is it just the team? And at this point, it really just feels like it's the team. Cody, while he has struggled with turnovers, it's not just that has caused the issues. So as we jump into this matchup against the Steelers, really, again, needing to see something, and it starts off fantastic. We open it up 10-0, but then since going up 10, we basically fall off, and the Steelers start slowly climbing their way back in, and then the third quarter, they just let loose, creating a dominant 31-12 lead. But it's something we can still try to come back from, though we're going to need some help from all around, and that does not happen, as this play just exemplifies this season, as Cody not only gets hit, fumbles, picks the ball up, gets hit again, and the Steelers scoop it up and take it all the way back for a touchdown. After that, this team was completely and utterly demoralized, and we quickly ended this game, which would be a pretty big win, though we did at least tack on some more points, but it does end up being 48-32, as once again, we have not been able to get the ball moving whatsoever. But there is at least a silver lining, as once again, Borghi does have the opportunity to become a star dev. He will need 100 yards or 2 touchdowns, and he picks up 77 on the ground, no touchdowns, and through the air has 12 yards, which puts his total at 89, and he does not regain that star dev. So from there, we just finish off the season. And while it does end up being slightly better than what we saw in the previous year, only winning 4, it's still not up to par. We split our home games, winning 4, losing 4, but on the road is where we struggle the most. Only winning 2, losing 7. But the offense was improved, 13th in the NFL this year. The defense took a step back, 22nd. Though we did see a massive step forward here for Cody, just shy of 5,000 passing yards, 38 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, completing 68%. As for Max Borghi, a solid year, though the fumbles did become an issue, with 3 for him, 4 for Cody. And it kind of took away from some of the good that we did see from the running game. As for receivers, we had 2,000-yard receivers. Osborne, just shy of 1,400, 13 touchdowns. David Watkins, over 1,000, 9 touchdowns. Alton Campbell had a good year. Sky Moore, good year as well. We had 4 guys close to 1,000. Obviously, the 2 over. And then down the line, saw some play here and there from some others. But we definitely struggled at that left tackle spot. Illuminor gave up 12 sacks. Bobby Murphy had a slightly worse year. But Jalen Worthy, had a solid rookie year, only 5 sacks given up, and that was something we knew he might struggle with. Christian Harris leads us with tackles, 99, and we did have a fair few tackles for a loss, 18 going for Kinlaw, 15 for Tony. Grady Jarrett had 10, as well as Aleem McNeil, so the front guys were getting the job done, but we still struggled when it came to actually producing a pass rush. Grady Jarrett, 7.5, only 3.5 for Shaka Tony, and then a handful down the line. So this team is definitely not forcing as many sacks as we were previously. Turnovers also not coming as plentiful, though we do have quite a few guys with at least 1 interception this season. But surprisingly, it was Shaq Griffin who struggled in coverage, giving up 50 catches. Now, we're always going to see quite a few down the middle with the middle linebackers and the safeties, but really struggled was Shaquille Griffin, and that would be his only season with us. McCreary did a much better job, only giving up 29. We did end up getting a blocked kick from Grady Jarrett, so there is that. And as for safeties, we did get 1, and that was to none other than Shaka Tony. And while Carlson did have a good preseason, he did struggle a little bit in the regular season, did miss 5 field goals. But again, a silver lining. KJ Osborne was our one and only Pro Bowler. Though we did have a few guys in the running for some awards, James Cody was second in voting for best quarterback, which is nice to see because he did have a much better year. And we had quite a few guys in the running for defensive rookie of the year in Gaines, McNair. We also had St. Louis down at 9. So 3 of our defensive starters all were rookies and did seem to play pretty well. And going back to the offense, KJ Osborne was in the running for best receiver, was voted at 3. But the year would end with another Super Bowl for the Buffalo Bills. Struggled to get 1, and now they have back-to-back after defeating the Eagles. They again go on to defeat another one of our conference rivals in the Giants, 29-26. Akeem Akers, a Super Bowl MVP. And as we were to get stuck back into another off season, we did have another retiree, this time in Eric Kendricks, who put in a decent year, was mostly there just to be a mentor. And surprisingly enough, Shaka Tony decided he would not be returning to this squad and would not even be returning to the NFL. At age 29, he retired and went on to open up his own casino in Las Vegas. Dude loves gambling. KJ Osborne considered coming back to the team but was not sure at this point, so we both decided we would come back to negotiations later. Same for Jamar Johnson. And Alton Campbell decided he was done with the squad, and also we were kind of done with him. That was a mutual split, but he is not done with this series. We did also consider maybe moving on from Turbin, but we will end up bringing him back at a later point because he has been solid for us. But then also we're going to see a lot of guys here who have been, you know, some key role players for us that we are moving on from. This is going to be a massive turnover. Honestly, you could even say the replacements are getting replaced. And in our according free agent moves, we did end up bringing in a #1 receiver and a few other veterans coming in, but we did bring in some key young players as well that will see their impact very quickly. A lot of veterans are brought in to just round out some roster, some depth chart spots, but also some young guys that we thought could develop into something or at least have a good single skill like what we saw from a lot of our young pass rushers. But of course, another move we had to make in the offseason was deciding if we were going to give our 5th-year option to James Cody. And with that generational talent, it was pretty simple for us. Of course, we were going to sign him for a slightly cheaper deal than what he probably would get, giving us that 5th year. Now, in the draft, we went after a replacement for Shaka Toney in Alonzo Shepherd, a top 5 projected player, though we got him outside of the top 5, and he's an athlete with tremendous size and just a well-rounded player. And he, of course, is another hidden dev for us with 92 strength, 78 speed, with 82 acceleration. Should be just fine as we play our 3-4, though he will be a starter edge rusher for us. In the next round, we went with offensive line as once again we needed another starter, this time on the outside in Nick Porter. Was drafted as a right tackle, though we were going to move him over to the left tackle spot, and you could see why, because there was some concern around his run blocking, and I prefer my right tackle to have at least some run blocking ability. And you guessed it, another hidden dev with 86 strength and just a well-rounded athletic standpoint for a left tackle. Following the draft of Porter, it was just BPA, and there was a running back that we thought had some really good talent and just an overall great athlete. And about midway through the 3rd round, we figured, hey, this could either at least be a depth running back for us or come in and be a special teams guy. And that's exactly what we got with another hidden dev player. Just finding all of them here in these quote-unquote movies, though that would not change as we would go on to find a new backup quarterback, as we did sign Geno Smith, an aging quarterback. Tyler Huntley regressed quite a bit, so we decided let's bring in Richard Saunders. And yeah, he's a hidden dev quarterback with 89 throw power, and he does have some speed, 75, so he could at least scramble and fit decently in this offense. And once again, we put together another fantastic draft with at least 2 starters, and then about 2-3 of them are definitely going to be role players for us. Alonzo Shepherd does end up being an 80 overall with the coaching boost, and just look at that starting rating. 96 strength, coming in with 79 block shed, does have the 77 power moves. Injury was maybe a little bit of a concern, though he ended up being just fine. Nick Porter, down at a 73, isn't super highly rated and does have some concern in the running game. But again, he's brought in to primarily be a pass blocker and protect the blind side of Cody, and he definitely has the ratings to do that. As for the running back in Farrell, with some pluses and minuses, he's actually a 73, but he has the speed. Break tackle is a little bit low, but you don't have to worry about fumbling, which was an issue with us last season. Has some change of direction, some catching ability, but he could definitely start day 1 as a returner. As for Richard Saunders, he has the important job. Hold the clipboard on the sideline and learn from James Cody. Give us an option in case we do have an injury, which we did see from Cody last year. And he has some pretty good ratings to do it. So this is the team we will move into the next season with. There are definitely some new faces. We already have pretty much an entirely new offensive line. Now, Nick Porter did get slightly banged up early on, but he ended up playing majority of the season, and some of these new guys slotted in very nicely. Defense is looking at least a little bit better with the hidden dev of Shepherd. St. Louis, the star dev. We have some new guys on the defensive line. Lawrence brought in to basically take over that Shaka Toney spot, though him as well as the rookie in Shepherd will kind of split that role. But the specialists are about the same. Sky Moore did move from an outside receiver to the slot spot. Felt like he might fit that spot a little bit better. But yeah, all in all, we have our veterans. Campbell comes in to take over that spot from Kendricks. But this should be a good team to start off with, and we at least saw that in week 1. Against the Cowboys, we win 28-21, but then we drop 3 straight games. But all of those are 1-score games, so this team is close to making that change. And after that Falcons week, something did finally click with a big win against the Eagles 35-14 and a narrow win versus the Dolphins 24-21. We then get the bye week and then head on in to face the back-to-back Super Bowl champions in the Bills. And at this point, we are 3-3. Third in our division once again, and this is a very decisive week in where this season is going to go. At this point, it's really now deciding, is this going to be a good year or a bad year? And although we do drop the next 2 games, we do win 3 of the next 5, beating the Saints, a big game against the Chargers, and a 2-score game against the Bucks. Now, there are definitely some important games to round out this season, with most of them being against our own division. And playoffs are on the line, as we are the current 5th seed if the playoffs were to happen right now. There's a lot of teams around us, though, at 9-7 and 8-8. So this last week against the Giants of all teams, they're a tough team, and obviously we saw that at the beginning of last season where we almost got the win but didn't quite do it. And that is the same case here. We do not get the win, we lose 31-15. But do we have any luck on our side? Yes, we do. For the first time since winning the Super Bowl, we are back in the playoffs, a wild card round versus the Giants once again. And we needed some sort of edge, and that came through James Cody, who came to us and let us know, hey, this might be it for DeMarcus Lawrence. This is his last hurrah. And if we're to do what we did with Julio Jones, sending him out on top, we have to get things going now. So with that extra chip on our shoulder, we head into the playoffs, taking on our division rival. And just as we always do, James Borghi starts us off very well. Following, we're going to go with a nice little swing pass out to McKinley. He's going to turn up the field, getting us all the way to midfield. This offense definitely starting to flow well here. We'll go back across the middle, going to find Watkins with another first down, just stacking up these first downs. And from the 33 on 2nd and 9, McKinney right down the middle will get us on the board early. We're going to see a lot of connection happening between our new tight end and James Cody. Though we were also going to need our defense to step up, and on 3rd and goal, they go with a speed option to the outside. A great stop there by one of our depth backers. We'll at least force a 4th and goal. Can we get the goal line stand as they motion over their tight end to the right? Handed off Saquon and stuffed at the 1. Harris, as well as a few other of our defensive guys, get the stop, and our offense can retake the field. We have a 4-point lead with about half the quarter remaining here in the second. We get a pass right across the middle, once again McKinney. And a few plays later, sitting about the 2-minute warning, we roll out, tossing it to McKinley. And even the linebacker there knew he was not good enough in coverage. Does force the DPI, and we'll get the ball down at the goal line. And just as we always do, hand it off to Turbin right down the middle. I said he was going to make his return, and it's a big return with a wild card touchdown, putting us up 2 scores. Though the Giants will end up pulling it back, and with a 17-13 lead, once again finding McKinney on a beautiful route, wide open. James Cody puts it right on him, and we will again retake that 2-score lead. As we jump into the 4th quarter, it's now 24-21. The Giants just do not have the quit in them, and you could see that with that amazing grab from the receiver in double coverage. Absolutely insane. But speaking of insane, we needed our defense to come up with a big play, and none other than Christian Harris in the back of the end zone with that man coverage gets the pick. The reason we picked him up was that man coverage, and it's coming through for us here. But unfortunately, as we've seen all too often, a bad read from James Cody leads to a pick, and it's back-to-back picks, putting the Giants right back in scoring range. But once again, the defense forces a 3rd down here, and they go with the read option, stuffed by McCreary on the cornerback blitz. Will only force or let up a field goal attempt, though that will inevitably tie this game up 24-24. With under 2 minutes left, we need to get down the field and at least get the field goal. And once again, we find McKinney for a nice first down, plus a good little chunk more. A little bit later, with the pressure bearing in, we somehow find Kershaw down to the 40. That pass barely making it there, but at least it did. 1st and 10 at the 40, back to Kershaw, though a flag will come in. And somehow, despite getting the tackle from behind, it's actually a face mask and will move us further down the field. Though that sloppy play will continue as a blatant face mask there on Max Borghi. Chase Young just tossing him down. And to cap it all off, we hand it off to James Cook, who finds the gap, bounces off of a tackler, drags another, and we will take a late lead in this game. But perhaps we left too much time for the Giants. They've driven down the field, and with their last play, they go underneath. And Christian Harris gets the stop, and we will see ourselves on through to the divisional round, knocking out one of the top teams in not only our division, but in our conference. Though we did give up a lot of yards in this game, defense came through with the 3 turnovers. But we'll head straight on into the divisional round versus the Lions, a team that we've seen before, and they have a really good defense. Though we do find Sky Moore right across the middle, already a big play on our first possession. And we have our tight end going deep, but instead we go Sky Moore's way. And that'll end up being a pick by Jeff Okudah, just getting a little too greedy once again by Cody. Now jumping forward to about the end of the first quarter, the Lions are down around the goal line, and a beautiful run by Swift gets them down to the legit goal line. And they will inevitably end up tying this game up off the quick slant, good adjustment from the receiver, but they will make it a 7-7 ball game. And that would remain the case for quite a while. About halfway through the second quarter, on a third down, we find Kershaw for the much-needed first down, keeping this drive rolling. We then go back to the run, getting another first down on a third down, this time going James Cook's way. 1st and 10 down at the 10, back to Cook, who has hesitated slightly but still managed to get the ball down to the 1. And of course, to cap it off, Turbin back out there with another playoff touchdown right down the middle. Less than a 1-yard carry, but the 6 points is far more valuable. And this drive inevitably ends up being all Kershaw as he gets the catch on the first play. Then thereafter, trying to scramble out wide, Cody finds him deep, dropping in a beautiful pass down to the 3. And with just 15 seconds left, RPO Kershaw will top off the drive, giving us a 2-score lead as we head into half. Though the Lions would score quite a few more points in that third quarter, making it a tight game late on here in the fourth, 25-22. We get the stop on third down, leaving 4th and inches. And once again, we allow a field goal to level a game up with about 2 minutes left. Though, all timeouts in our pocket, we don't have to rush down the field. We could just be calm here. And that's exactly how we start off with a couple runs, one to James Cook, another one to Borghi, and we're slowly moving the ball down. But that doesn't mean we aren't going to take a shot downfield as we find Sky Moore on the corner route with a first down to the 36, and that puts us in field goal range. So we can once again just calm things down. But Borghi, with just a beautiful, powerful, shifty run, makes us think, well, maybe we don't settle for the field goal here. And instead we just keep handing the rock off to Borghi because he clearly knows what he's doing. And with about 10 seconds left in this one, handoff back to Borghi right down the middle, spins off Okudah down at the inch line. But we were going to hand the ball off to him and let him finish what he started, sending us into the NFC Conference Championship, putting him out there at fullback, wherever works for him. He works out at the running back spot, fullback spot, and even as a receiver. But he does get us the win late on against, again, another really good NFC team. As we move on to the NFC Conference Championship, it's the 49ers as Borghi starts off exactly where he just left off with a big run already up to midfield early on. And with that first down past midfield, Cody decided with no one open, might as well use my legs, and he has a beautiful scramble down the sideline, picks up about 18 some odd yards down to the 32. And from there, the very next play, we get the quick stop on the outside to Kershaw, who bounces off the defenders. Sprinting Hufanga comes in, but he cannot get the stop as Kershaw taps the goal line. A beautiful run after the catch there will put us on top early on. Though that lead would not stand for long as the 49ers would drive down the field, finding Debo on the quick slant into the end zone, leveling this game up back at 7. Now with about a minute left in this first half, backed up way deep, we have a lot of space we need to go if we want to widen our lead before half. We have managed to get a field goal from that last score. But a beautiful deep throw, one-hand catch, Watkins puts on the burners. And there is no stopping him. He will get a touchdown for us after we started back at our own 2-yard line. Watkins puts on probably his biggest play we've seen from him yet. As we jump forward to late on in the third quarter, it's a 17-14 game. Defenses have definitely been predominant in this one, but we get a much needed first down on 4th and 3 as Cody scrambles. And on 1st and 10, just a few plays later at the 20, Cody goes to throw the ball, sack comes in, ball gets knocked free, and it's none other than our former DT and Tristan Hill who recovers, giving the San Francisco 49ers a chance to take a lead, though the defense will come through for us, just giving up a field goal attempt. But that does once again level a game late on here in the 4th quarter. But we have about 6 minutes on the clock, so we decided let's put this thing in cruise and just let Borghi and the rest of the running backs do what they do. So that's exactly what we planned on doing. Just chew some clock and we get some big runs from both Borghi and Cook. But of course, with those big runs, makes you want to break out a play action pass. Though a lot smarter here from Cody, does not get greedy, just scrambles, essentially just makes it a quarterback sweep. And we get a massive gain down to the 21. 3rd and 3, back to Borghi right down the middle, and he finds the narrowest gap, just getting the first down at the 9. A few plays later, right back to Turbin, which he could walk in. That blocking up front, absolutely dominant. And from there you think it's game over, right? No. Blown coverage by the defensive back Campbell, the closest person. It will be a 1-play touchdown drive for the San Francisco 49ers, leveling this one up near immediately. But we still have some magic in us left. 24-24, under a minute. Cody goes to scramble, will eventually dump this one off Borghi. He will eventually land out of bounds. With about 30 seconds left, we have a 3rd and 4, still back at the 31. Cody once again scrambles, picking up the first down that is much needed, calling a timeout. We have 20 seconds and counting, back at the 40, trying to find somewhere to go. Cody just decides nothing to throw. Let's just get what yards we can to about midfield. 15 seconds left. Dropping back, everything covered once again. Goes to scramble, has some receivers, but decides once again just tuck and run. It's the safest call. And on 1st and 10, we hand this one off Borghi right down the middle. Shakes off the Fred Warner tackle and gets the ball all the way down to the 30-yard line. With 1 second left, we call our timeout, sending out the field goal unit to win the game, but no! He misses it wide right. To overtime we go. And the 49ers win the toss, meaning we're out on defense once again. And the 49ers would begin with a lot of just dink and dunk plays. They start on the outside. Kittle gets a catch, a few yards. Right thereafter, 2nd and 6. Looks like we're going to bring the blitz, and we do, but they pick it up beautifully, and they can find a first down outside to Duvernay. 2 plays later, we see what Christian McCaffrey does best with a swing pass. Makes St. Louis miss, makes another man miss, and gets the first down to about midfield. And on 2nd and 5, they need to get to that red line, and that's exactly what they do on the quick curl route. But they still can get the first down here and keep the drive moving, though they hand it off right down the middle. Buckner there to stuff the Christian McCaffrey run. And the defense will inevitably force the field goal attempt that was almost blocked, but somehow they get it just by and take a field goal lead. With about 3.5 minutes left here in overtime, Cody, scrambling, has Sky Moore down the sideline and throws it beautifully with a great sideline catch. Then just a couple plays later, 2nd and 5 at the 30. Cody rolling out, has Kershaw open, finds him at the 10. He makes one guy miss down to the 4, and we have a chance to walk this game off. And as we quickly hurry back to the line, hand this one off, James Cook powering through. Hufanga will send us into the Super Bowl. A massive bounce back since our last Super Bowl visit, where we only won 4 games and then 6 games, barely making the playoffs here. And we have a chance to win it all once again. But every game to this point has been extremely tight. And you can see that when you take a look at these stats. I mean, those passing yards very close, though it was the rushing game for us that came through. And we'll look to continue that as we move on towards the Super Bowl, where we will be facing off against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, the 5th seed for the AFC, after they snuck by in pretty much all of their games. A 6-point victory against the Jags, a 4-point win against the Jets, and a 4-point win against the Raiders. But this is the squad that has gotten us back to the Super Bowl, as we have 4 development players along the offensive line. Watkins has come through for us big this season. James Cody has been, again, really good for us. And we still have some of the main guys from before, like Justin Ross, who has been a situational player for us. Half of this offensive line was with us in our last Super Bowl. As for our defense, this has definitely seen a big change. You could honestly say the replacement squad has been replaced, with most of the starters all being new or draftees. Really, the only original starter from the last Super Bowl is Christian Harris. But you can't hate on these new guys, as Alonzo Shepard, our rookie, wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. We also have a pretty good showing from DeMarcus Lawrence, second in linebackers, and he was kind of the guy who put that chip on our shoulder, and he makes it official right before the Super Bowl in a direct conversation here with Shane Falco. He will retire after this game, and it's our job to put a ring on his finger, just as we did with Julio Jones. But of course, there's a lot of pressure on this team facing the Kansas City Chiefs. Luckily, we've been in a Super Bowl before against a team that did really well that year, so we have some familiarity with this pressure. But it's a whole other thing when you're facing off against the Chiefs and a team just in general led by Patrick Mahomes. So it's time to see if we can make this thing go full circle. As again, we start off with a run game. That's what worked so well for us in this postseason. Really was a dominant force for us. Though it's also opened up some of our passing game, as we're going to find McKinley again on a play action shot deep down the sideline. Gets us into plus territory. But of course, we need our healthy dose of Borgie, so we hand it off to him with a little bit of shake and bake. Makes things a much more manageable 3rd down with 3rd and 1. And if he did so well for us on 2nd, let's let him continue on 3rd, which he will squeak out the 1st down. And 2 plays later on 2nd and 10, Cody will eventually find Sky Moore, the former Chief, who sets us up down inside the red zone at the 8. And once again, we bring out Borgie at fullback, and he will cap off the drive, a touchdown to begin our Super Bowl efforts. Though it's now going to rely on our defense to try to keep up with this Chiefs offense. However, they do not do that, but our offense continuing their solid push, as it's 7-7, we find McKinney down to the 3. And on 2nd and 1, we decide, no, let's change it up a little bit. Instead of the dive, we give it to Kershaw on the jet sweep, and he will barely squeak that ball past the goal line and into the end zone, as once again we take another touchdown lead. But it's at this point just a battle of these offenses, as we have a 3rd and 13. Defense finally gets a big play, and it's more luck than anything else, as they will force the field goal attempt. On the very next drive, we have a 3rd and 8, which we look to load up deep as we had a receiver open, but the hit comes in on Cody. The ball comes up short, and the Chiefs defense will get their big play. And the Chiefs, with about 2 minutes left in the first half, trying to find their first lead. Hit comes in, but a beautiful throw there from Patrick Mahomes. 2nd and 6, once again from the pocket. Going to that back corner. However, the receiver does not get both feet in bounds. 3rd and 6. Mahomes will not find the pass, as McGee, who was with us for quite a while, is a starter now, gets the sack. 4th and 16. We force the field goal attempt, which they will end up hitting, making this a 14-13 game with a little bit of time left in the first half, and we march down the field finding a touchdown. But the Chiefs marching right back down the field trying to find theirs, as they will find none other than our former tight end in Alton Campbell. Our other Campbell was in pretty good coverage there, but just a beautiful throw there from Patrick Mahomes. And the Chiefs will draw this thing closer, yet they go for 2, they do not get it. So we have a lead, 21-19, as we look for our tight end, but knocked away. On 3rd and 10, just about a minute left here in the 3rd, we toss it out. Sky Moore gets a little bit of revenge against his former team, putting us up by even more, a 2-score lead. But just as they've done all game, Chiefs whittle it down once again to a 1-score game, and this time a touchdown could put them on top as they do get the catch down to the 4, barely squeezing that pass by Harris on 1st and goal. To the outside, they find their man, but he had to step out of the end zone to make that catch, was Jerry Jeudy. Then on 2nd and goal, they go with the jet sweep, swallowed up by that rookie defensive end. And on 3rd and goal, trying to find their lead, wide open is Pacheco, and he will put them on top. But once again, we've been left with about a minute and a half to get the job done, though we have to convert a 3rd and 15 as we go right across the middle. Sky Moore comes through for us once again. 2nd and 10, hand this one off Borghi. With under a minute left, we still have all 3 timeouts, so we can get Borghi involved, no problem. Though we still need 3 more yards here on 3rd down. And if he did it for us before, he could do it for us again. Borghi right down the middle, picks up all we need into field goal range. But do we trust our kicker? He did just miss the possible game-winning field goal against the 49ers. So we let this offense continue to roll. We get the 1st down with a throw to Max Borghi. Then after, trying to be smart, Cody just looks to scramble instead of forcing a throw. 1st and 10, about 20 seconds left down at the 17. Cody again looks to scramble, no one open. Just take what the defense gives us down to the 8, 19 seconds left. 3rd and inches, 15 seconds. Hand this one off Borghi right down the middle, who powers forward to the inch line. And why not let him cap off this series? Max Borghi wins the Super Bowl as we have come full circle. He was with us since day 1, and he comes through for us all the way through the very last play of this series. While it has been rocky since winning our first Super Bowl, we bounce back 3 years later as we take on the Kansas City Chiefs in an absolute showdown. And just as we did all postseason, fought, and fought. And with typically under a minute left or in overtime, we find ourselves a victory. 2 Super Bowls for Shane Falco and owner Jimmy McGinty. Not as many players stuck with us throughout these movie portions. A lot of players decided they wanted to move on. Alton Campbell decided he was done with the team, obviously going to the Chiefs, and he did have a magnificent touchdown there. But at the end of it, we just got the plays done, and the players that replaced the replacements, they came through for us time and time again. And for the 2nd time, James Cody is the Super Bowl MVP, about 260 yards throwing, 3 touchdowns, and probably about another 100 yards scrambling. It was a heck of a second effort. It all started about halfway through this season, and that extra chip on our shoulder when we found out that DeMarcus Lawrence was going to retire gave us another opportunity to send someone out on top. And we could say once again, with our one last hurrah, we are Super Bowl champions, as the Commanders Replacement Squad series has come to an end.